What's up, man?
What's up, boys? See that? Beautiful New York City day.
Yeah, I miss New York, man. It's been a while. Well, Josh was there not so long ago.
Is it?
Oh, I was there last year. How's that?
Is it too loud?
No, you're good,
no,
man. You're good.
You're good.
No, it's good seeing you. Haven't seen you in a while, man.
Likewise, boys. Yeah, it's nice right now. It's really nice. Weather is good.
Yeah, how do you get the
Yeah,
Wi-Fi out there?
Can't beat that, right?
No, not at all. You're playing ball? Who are you playing ball with?
I got that strong
Connect
internet. Those are my two boys down there.
Okay.
Wait, is that the league you play for? The basketball league that you play with, or?
Nah, not for this.
Oh, okay.
That's during the week.
Yeah.
And that's for like with Ariel, right? It's you, Ariel, and some other guys. Oh, there you are.
I'm trying to move to a better spot. I heard you guys said something about Benson fight week.
Yeah, I spoke to him, and he said that pretty much Ariel ducked him. I guess Benson was in New York recently.
Yes. Yeah, no, Benson did the show. He came into the studio.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And he said that he ducked him, and Ariel ducked him for a one-on-one game.
You'd think I'd know better than this to do an interview outside, but I was just playing ball longer than I thought. But I'm just trying to move to a spot where it's not so bright. So that doesn't look crazy. God. Wait, this might be the winner. There we go.
Yeah, Glory 33 is coming up. New Jersey, September 9th. Talk to us about that. There's two awesome title fights with Simon Marcus defending his middleweight championship, and obviously Van Hooven. Your thoughts on the card, and are you excited? It's in the New York area.
Yeah. So first of all, two title fights. Simon Marcus, who might be the best, pound for pound striker on the planet.
Yeah,
up there with the likes of Rico, Verhoeven himself, and who's also on the card, and up there with some of the other Glory champions. Mickey Holskin, up there with some of the really best. Simon Marcus has been through the ringer, proven himself as one of the best strikers on the planet, defending his title against Jason Wilness, who, is still super young. People forget Jason Wilness is only like 26 years old, I think. He's been around so long. People think of him as a veteran from the Dutch kickboxing background, but the guy is only 26, and he's just, getting to the precipice of where he could be. It's going to be a great fight. Then you got Rico headlining the event against Anderson Silva. Obviously Rico, people know that Rico is scheduled to fight Badr Hari in December.
Yeah.
It's no secret. That was announced, and then the fight with Anderson Silva was announced. So the thought could be, is he taking Anderson Silva lightly? I've spoken to Rico. He's actually here now. He's in New Jersey right now, getting ready for the fight. So he's not taking any chances. He's not flying in, fight week late and trying to, take it easy and get it done. He is preparing for this like every other title fight that he has. And if you know anything about Rico Verhoeven, preparation is not a problem for him.
Yeah,
that's the one thing you know. He's going to be prepared to go in for 5 hard rounds, and he is going to do that if need be on Friday night. And at the same time, Anderson Silva is no slouch. This guy has been around forever.
Yeah.
Just like a Jason Wilness, this guy has been making his bones in the top echelon of kickboxing for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are excited for him to finally get that title shot. It's been a long time coming. And I love this matchup. I love this card. There's also, the one-night tournament that Glory is known for.
Yeah.
There's also the continuation of the women's super bantamweight tournament. There's also some other great fights on the Super Fight Series. Top to bottom, it's a really good night. And if you're in the area and you come and buy tickets, there's 11 or 10 fights. I think there's 10 now. One might have been scrapped. There's 10 fights on the local undercard from Lou Neglia, who runs Ring of Combat in the area. And if anybody's familiar with the New Jersey, New York tri-state area, Lou Neglia puts on fantastic shows. Chris Weidman, John Vellante, all the guys from this area, from the Long Island, New York area, have come through Ring of Combat. So he's putting on a good kickboxing show. He's a former kickboxing champion himself. For the ticket, I don't think you're getting better than your money for this card.
Yeah.
It's a really good card for the locals. And on TV, it's not going to be bad either. You're going to get Simon Marcus. You're going to get Rico Verhoeven.
Wow. Yeah, that was good, man.
That
was a great promo.
You might think I do this for a living.
Great promo, man.
So all the fights are what's going to be on Fight Pass and what's going to be on TV? What fights are which?
So the way Glory breaks it down, and sometimes people can get confused about this. there's a card called Glory Super Fight Series.
Yeah.
Right.
And every time, that portion is on UFC Fight Pass. So what you're getting is 5 fights, no tournament structure. It's just going to be 5 super fight matchups done. And typically, they try to have a title fight on the headline event of Super Fight Series. In this case, it's going to be that Simon Marcus fight.
Yeah.
Then you switch over to ESPN, typically ESPN3, but for this event, we're live on ESPN2 at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
So Prime West Coast, we're on at 8 p.m. West Coast, and it's going to be that 5-fight card that includes the first 2 tournament fights, then a super fight, and then the final of that tournament, because it's a 4-man tournament, so they have the final of that, and then Rico Verhoeven.
Oh, nice.
And speaking of Simon Marcus, he's obviously a Jamaican Canadian. Is Glory gonna hit the Canadian market and promote Simon?
Yeah, people have been asking us for a long time, and nobody more than, guess who, like the Canadian fighters. They want the fights in their backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel Varga asks us every time. Simon Marcus asks us every time. Former champion, now commentator, Joe Valtellini, he wants to fight in Canada. So there's issues with the regulation. Kickboxing is not regulated the same way there that it is here. So unfortunately, I think it's going to be a bit of a longer-term thing. But make no mistake about it, Glory is trying to open that up, as well as some other things, man. Glory has some incredible stuff planned for this year and next. Getting into the Latin American market, getting into more advanced in the Asian market. There's a lot of stuff that Glory is trying to get into. But Canada is one of the first things that Glory is trying to get accomplished. So many good Canadian fighters and champions. Gabriel Varga and Simon Marcus are current reigning champions, and they're both Canadian.
Yeah.
As well as guys like Robert Thomas, up-and-comers from Canada. They're really trying to get it done. There's, it's been, a bit tougher than in, getting kickboxing regulated here. MMA was harder to get regulated here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Kickboxing's been legal here for a long, long time. We had an event in New York back in 2012. So, it's a regulation thing, but we're trying to get it done. I know Glory is.
And you have, and you have More Ronaldo, who's also Canadian.
He is the Canadian, the hardest working man in the business.
Yeah, right.
You guys are obviously looking to go global. Is a priority just right now the U.S. trying to get that established in the U.S. No.
So there's 2 parallel tracks right here.
Yeah.
Getting kickboxing established in the U.S. and through our partners with UFC Fight Pass and with ESPN, we're trying to get a more regular schedule, put on an event every month. Get in front of people that U.S. fans can U.S. fans can get familiar with it. As well, the shows in Europe do fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the home base. That's where Dutch kickboxing lives, and that's where some of our champions are from. So guys like Rico Verhoeven and Nicky Holskin do bonkers over there. So we're trying to build up both those markets and at the same time expand. There is a hunger for combat sports in Asia right now that's not being tapped in the way that it could be. There's other organizations trying to expand there. UFC is trying to go there. So Glory is trying to expand into that market as well as Latin America. We can't forget about Latin America. We've got some great, Brazilian talent. We've got some great Mexican talent. And we're trying to, in addition to, keeping the home base in Europe and in the U.S., we're trying to grow that out. And, Glory has over 200 territories worldwide. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it may be the most visible combat sport in terms of territories that it's available. UFC is up there, but I think Glory might have them edged out a little bit in terms of content is shown on televisions in over 200 territories. That is Glory Kickboxing, whether it be an older event, whether it be a live event. So it has a huge global presence, and we find that Asia and Latin America, as well as the European and the U.S. markets are really craving for it. So. Yeah. Man, we're trying to take this thing worldwide, but there has to be an effort to grow it here in the States. People are still, trying to kind of coming around to it. For boxing fans, it's a little too different. For MMA fans, it may not have that, ruthlessness. When somebody goes down, they don't follow them to the ground. They let them stand back up like in boxing. So it kind of falls in between. But if you ever watch a Glory event, I can assure you'll be a fan. I've said that to everybody, and everybody that watches it and takes my word for it becomes a fan instantly. Nobody strikes more. Nobody strikes faster. You never get that period where guys are kind of just dancing around each other that you might get in boxing from a defensive fighter, or you might get from MMA when they're kind of stalling out or taking it to the ground. It is the fastest, the highest knockout rate. So if you can get over the idea of seeing the guys in the big gloves, and checking kicks, it is something to behold.
No,
and guys like Rico Verhoeven and Simon Marcus take it to that next level.
Yeah. Great promo again, man.
Yeah.
Any shows in the SoCal area? Do you know of?
So, I don't think in the next few months they're going to be anywhere. I think we're moving out west again for the next U.S. event in October. We might have more info on that coming in the next week or the next week after that to go somewhere out west. I'm not sure if it's going to be SoCal, but we're trying to get back out west because we know that kickboxing is a really strong market out in California for sure.
Yeah. A lot of it's, I think, just developing stars. I mean, I think a lot of the guys like Rico and Marcus and Nicky Holskin, they're becoming regular names that you even hear in the MMA scene.
Absolutely.
That's like a priority for Glory to develop stars. I think that's one of the biggest things to build it in the U.S. is just to build out those names, that recognition.
Yeah, the guys, the one person that went a long way toward doing that was Alistair Overeem. When Alistair Overeem won the K1 Grand Prix as an MMA fighter and, who was a visible name, it kind of gave a window into that kickboxing world that people hadn't quite seen yet who were strictly MMA fans. Yeah. And I think that now Glory is giving some of those guys a platform that people are seeing that there are these stars, like the names we mentioned, like Rico Verhoeven. Rico is very, well known in the Netherlands. Nicky is very well known in the Netherlands, but now some of the U.S. fans are coming around to them and seeing really, truly how talented these guys are as strikers. We see people gushing over the strike combination Cowboy Cerrone had when we finished Ric's story.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic combination. Brandon Gibson and the team at Jackson Winklejohn are incredible. But if you're watching Glory, that type of thing for the European guys is kind of they'll be doing that every round, throwing those combinations like that.
You see that on a regular basis.
Yeah, that level of MMA striking is not at the level of kickboxers at this highest level. So if that type of thing is in it for you, and you see that Cowboy Cerrone combination and you think it's beautiful, I encourage you to check out some high-level Muay Thai, some high-level kickboxing, and you will see stuff like that at the highest level. You will see those kind of combinations where guys are putting together 2 or 3 hand strikes, a kick on the end of it, finishing with a low kick. You don't really see that in MMA. Maybe at the highest level, you see a guy like a Cerrone who's incredible. You see a guy like an Aldo. But outside of those guys, you're not really seeing the level of striking that you might from high-level kickboxing.
Yeah,
right. Now, switching over to mixed martial arts, you have Invicta, 19th, also this month, with the debut of Tiffany Timebomb. Talk to us about that card and what fans could expect from Invicta 19.
First of all, how good is that segue, right? We're talking about high-level strikers in MMA. Now Tiffany is coming over to the MMA world while, still fighting for glory. She's part of that tournament I was mentioning before. Not for this card, but she will be on a future card because she already fought back in LA. Tiffany's debut is going to be, big time, based on just, the media that people have been talking about it. People are interested in this fight. People want to see if Tiffany has been working on a takedown defense because, I don't think anybody's going to want to stand with her. Let's be real. She's lethal. And with 4-ounce gloves, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough if you want to stand with her. So it really comes down to, can she stop that takedown? And that's going to be the ultimate question. If she can reasonably stop that takedown, I think she's going to be very tough to beat. Standing on your feet with Tiffany is going to be rough. She comes from what I was talking about with, putting together combinations that MMA fighters may not be used to. At the same time, we have to see how big her, how far her game has come, how much she's evolved. I know she's training her grappling every single day out in Bali. And, come September 23rd, we're going to see, if that hard work paid off. I have a feeling that, people are going to be surprised by how well-rounded her game is and how far she's come. But you never know. It's like 4-ounce gloves. We saw this with Joe Schilling. Highest level of kickboxing that you can achieve. Joe Schilling is an absolutely top elite level kickboxer. But in MMA, a guy like Isaki Kato with 4-ounce gloves, who, Joe is used to covering up in a certain way with those bigger gloves. When you get hit with those 4-ounce gloves, it's different. And even Rico, when Rico came into his first MMA fight, that guy was popping him in a way that could potentially be scary for him down the line. It's not the same thing, these guys coming into MMA. So the same way, if you throw an MMA fighter into a kickboxing ring, it's a different sport. They'd not have the experience necessary. These kickboxers that are transitioning, and Muay Thai fighters like Tiffany that are transitioning to MMA, there's going to be growing pains, and it's going to be, some people come in and ace it with flying colors. Holly Holm she never really suffered that kind of, jitter when she came over from the boxing world. She mixed in some kicks fantastically, and she looked like a finished product in terms of being able to at least, get up from positions and stop the takedowns. Some people have suffered when they came over to MMA. A guy like Melvin Manhoff has done it for years in both sports. Yeah. So, we get all kinds of different things. It'll be interesting to see what Tiffany looks like when she comes into the MMA cage for the first time.
Like, it's just a style thing, because there's certain things you have to think about, and then there's certain things you don't have to think about, and some of the guys have done it pretty flawlessly going back and forth. Do you feel like Tiffany's going into MMA and she's going to dabble in both? Rico's obviously going to dabble in both. Do you think that's what these stars in kickboxing need to do? They need to go to these MMA fan base and to get them to cross over? Is that what they need to do or not?
I think, we can't be obtuse here. We can't pretend that kickboxing in this country is at the level that MMA is. It's simply not. MMA is the bigger sport right now. So it's good for their exposure to get into both. And now, at the end of the day, I think that, these people grew up as kickboxers. Rico Verhoeven is a kickboxer.
Yeah.
Tiffany Van Zoos is a Muay Thai fighter. They grew up this way, and it will always be in them, and that will be their style. They're never going to, turn. But there's people who have done the transition successfully. Alistair Overeem is a shining example of a guy who did kickboxing and now is at the pinnacle of MMA. Next weekend or this weekend, in less than a week, he's going to be fighting for the UFC title.
Yeah,
Alistair
that's
Overeem.
crazy.
And, it's good for the exposure, but I think that, somebody like Tiffany, who is going to be dabbling in both simultaneously, she's worked out a schedule with Invicta and she's worked out a schedule with Glory where she's going to be doing both and keeping her skills sharp in both areas. I think that's the best way to do it if you want to dabble in both. And then there may be opportunities to commit to one or the other. But I think, keeping your tools sharp in kickboxing is something that might be overlooked. You might think that somebody going full time to MMA would be a smart move, but potentially that might not be. You might be jumping into waters that you're not quite ready for. I think that you have to keep your bread and butter honed. A lot of times with wrestlers who, they don't work the wrestling because they're so good. I don't need to work my takedown defense. And then they end up getting taken down and they try and turn into a striker. You have to keep your tools sharp. And I think Tiffany and Rico are good examples of doing that.
Yeah.
And do you think if then Invicta's going to push Tiffany to be that poster girl for Invicta?
I mean, she has all the tools. She has all the tools. But they've got some great champions right now. I mean, Angela Hill is another person who came from a striking background exclusively, fighting Muay Thai, and now she's the champion. And she's looked fantastic since coming to Invicta. She has looked absolutely incredible. Livia Souza, I think, maybe is a little small for the 115 division, but she's been a buzzsaw. She's been destroying everybody.
Yeah.
She is no joke. And Angela Hill made it look relatively easy. Let's be real. Like, it was a good fight, but Angela Hill looked super, super sharp.
Yeah.
I think she could compete with anybody at the UFC's 115. I think she's going to be a stalwart with Invicta's 115. So, Tiffany's going to have her work cut out. I think it's way too early to say whether, she'll be super successful and be the poster child or, whether it'll take some time to develop her game. But there's nothing more exciting than this right here, than seeing what she's got and kind of seeing those first steps. And seeing, is she going to take that path that goes straight to superstardom? Is she going to take more of a road that's slower? Is she going to flatten out? Like, this is the most exciting time in somebody's career right now.
Yeah, it's very intriguing, man.
Yeah. One more question about the Glory Kickboxing. With Rico fighting Silva this weekend, that fight with Bader, is it for a title? Or is it, let's say something happens with Rico in this fight, and he's not overlooking Silva, but, something happens. If he goes into the Bader fight, is it a title or no?
Anything could happen. Anderson Silva could be champion by Friday.
Yeah.
Not a question in my mind that Anderson Silva is a dangerous fighter and could be a champion by Friday. It's not a title fight with Bader. That fight is Rico versus Bader.
Yeah.
Not a title fight. So it's independent of this fight with Silva. Glory would never book Rico in a title fight against Bader if Anderson Silva can be champion. Nobody is overlooking Anderson Silva here. That fight is completely separate. Yeah. These two fighters have bad blood and wanted to fight each other, and that's why that fight was made. And it's a huge fight. Bader wouldn't have come out of his retirement to fight anybody else.
Yeah.
He wanted Rico, and Rico wanted him. So that's why that fight had to be made, but not a title fight, completely independent of this fight with Anderson Silva. That said, Rico Verhoeven is treating that fight like a title fight. So he's going to fight Silva. Should he win there, he's going to take his preparation the exact same way if Badr Hari was coming for his title. He's not going to take his foot off the gas and in any way. But it is not for a title.
It's not for a title. How was it getting Badr to sign on to the fight? Because I know he's been out of the game for a little while. He's obviously had some trouble outside of the ring. Was it difficult pinning him down? Do you know of any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I do know some of that, and it's going to be difficult because this was the only fight that the two guys wanted, so it had to be right. And Rico was in negotiations for his contract. I don't know if you saw the news, but he at the time had been entering free agency.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get two guys in these different points in their career. It's not like Badr is in the division and chasing Rico, and it's a clear matchup for the next fight. It's difficult dealing with big personalities that are used to commanding headline money. Rico Verhoeven is the best heavyweight in the world right now. Badr Hari has been a heavyweight stalwart for the longest time, the biggest name possibly in heavyweight kickboxing. So it's very difficult to put a fight like that together. You can imagine like the UFC tries to put the biggest fights together. We never got GSP and Anderson.
Yeah.
We never got some of those fights between some of the the best fighters in their prime that we wanted, and now we're getting this opportunity. People think Badr Hari is significantly older than he is. The same thing that I was talking about with Jason Williams. Badr Hari is 31 years old.
That's crazy.
He's
been
still in
around
his
for a long
prime
time.
right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Badr Hari is 31. Rico is, I want to say, 28, 29.
Something like that. Yeah.
We're getting these guys at their peaks, and that type of thing can be difficult to negotiate. But Glory, I think, is the only organization that could have gotten it done. There's nobody else out there that has the clout, that has the ability to say, hey, we're going to promote this fight as the biggest thing in the world, and with the exposure that it deserves. But Glory was able to put it together, and I think the fans are excited. I think everybody who knows enough about this story, and we'll be telling more of that in the lead up to December. Everybody who knows about this story realizes how big this fight truly is.
Are you guys gonna get Saki at all, Gokhan?
So I don't know anything about the contract status of Saki. I know we had originally booked him to fight in early 2016. I don't think he was quite ready in terms of his preparation. I think he's still kind of getting into shape.
Because he's my guy, man. I love Saki.
Look, we all love Gokhan Saki. He's another name from that tournament that Alistair Overeem won. That he was unfortunately hurt, but if he wasn't hurt, many people think he was the odds-on favorite to win that tournament.
He was fighting with one arm.
He was fighting with one arm, and we would love to have Saki back in Glory. The light heavyweight division is really strong right now. It'd be great to have a guy like Saki back. Remember, he's not up at heavyweight anymore, so. Now let's say come December, Rico and Badr goes down, and all of a sudden Saki is looking for the biggest possible fight. He could be jumping right back into that mix. He has a big enough name for that. But as of right now, I don't know anything about the return of Gokhan Saki. Last I heard, he was still getting prepped to come back. So we'll see where it shakes out. He may be back, early next year. Who knows?
Yeah, speaking of the Glory heavyweight division, Chael Lewis Perry. Another heavyweight that'll be fighting on this card. That's going to be a guest on today's episode. I'll talk about him and his placement in the heavyweight division.
The funny thing is, I don't need to talk about Chael Lewis Perry because he's going to do all the talking himself.
Right.
The man, nobody cuts a promo, nobody sells himself up, and nobody hypes himself up better than Chai. But I will say this: Chai is a freak athlete. The guy comes from a professional basketball background. He is an elite athlete. He tried out for the Lakers. Yeah. He's a 6'9" specimen. Truly one of the highest caliber athletes I've ever been around. Typically, fighters are fighters, and basketball players are basketball players, and hockey players are hockey players. He's just an elite physical specimen. And I'd put, who else I'd put in that category? Simon Marcus. That guy is an absolute freak. That guy is an absolute freak in terms of conditioning. And I wouldn't be, if you told me Simon Marcus could jump 10 feet, I wouldn't be surprised. And Chael Lewis Perry is that same kind of guy. But the difference between Simon and Chai, I think, is Simon's a little more quiet. He's very reserved. He's very humble. He lets his fighting do the talking. Chai is going to come in there and knock you out, and then he's going to stand over you and talk shit. Chai is a showman. But I'll tell you this: in the back, Chai will shake your hand and say, "Good job, buddy," because he's a class act. But he is. When it comes fight time, in the lead up to a fight, Chai will sell a promo, and he will make you feel that there is nobody he wants to take their head off more. And guess what? He doesn't want to take anybody's head off more than the person that's right in front of him. We saw every time he steps in the ring, he's throwing heat, and he's also delivering a good show. He says he's not a fighter; he's a showman, and nobody exemplifies that more than Chai.
And Chad Lewis Perry also tried out for NXT. I think Triple H brought him in and he tried out. That's kind of crazy.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
He's a freak. He's an absolute freak.
Yeah.
He unfortunately there was bad blood with him and Xavier Vigny. Unfortunately, Vigny's out of the fight.
Yeah.
And we've got McDonald stepping in on short notice. But I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup.
Yeah.
McDonald's a veteran, been around the MMA and the striking scene for a long time. I think it's going to be a great matchup. But, if you never tuned in for a Chai Lewis Perry fight, strap in and tune in.
Yeah,
it's going to be good. And you can bet your butt he's going to be calling out Rico Verhoeven after he wins.
Yeah. What was the injury with Vigny?
I don't think it was an injury. Vigny just what was there. I think maybe he had another fight booked and was busy preparing for that. Thought he could get a fight in and didn't schedule it right, something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's injured. I think it was just a scheduling thing.
Oh, okay.
Now
he had something else on the books and he couldn't make it. He thought he could get this in, get the camp in, and then go, and it just didn't work out that way.
Oh, okay. So I mean, well, if we go back to the Invicta card, because I know for those who don't know, you handle both PR for both Glory and Invicta.
Yep.
The Invicta card is going to be awesome. You got the 2 title fights on there. You got Ayaka Hamasaki defending her atomweight title, and you have Jennifer Maia, her first title defense in the flyweight title against Jinyu Frey, and you got Roxanne Modafferi as competitors. Man.
Tiffany debuting.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. What do you make of the 2 title fights?
Oh, I love these 2 title fights. First of all, the fight between Jennifer Maia and Vanessa Porto for that interim title was one of the best fights of the year.
Yeah,
Men's, women's, boxing, kickboxing, MMA. One of the best fights. One of the events. I just like heart and grit, and that was incredible. It's going to be hard to top that performance. And then in comes Roxanne Modafferi, who since returning to Invicta has looked absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look back at some of the wins she's had, those names are super impressive. It's not been a cakewalk for her to get to this title shot. So I love that fight.
Yeah.
And Jinyu Frey, another one of these don't look at her Instagram if you ever have any shame about your ab area, because she's chiseled from stone. She is absolutely a freak in terms of the genetics and how hard she works to keep her body in shape. She's I think she has a PhD in like astrophysics or something like that.
Yeah.
She has some kind of crazy degree, PhD. She's a sharp person, but also a sharp fighter, a finisher. Huge pop in her hands. She went super viral for one of her knockouts before she came into the Invicta atomweight division. At 105, you don't really see pop. A lot of times she's got some true power in her hands. And Hamasaki, nobody's touched her. Nobody's touched her in a long time. So we'll see if Jin is the person to do that. It's not going to be an issue of conditioning. Both of them are going to be able to go 5 hard rounds if need be. But I think we're looking at 2 finishers. That's what I really think is it's going to come down to can Jin get off a clean shot? Can Hamasaki potentially get it to the ground? We're looking at two fighters who come to finish. I think that's going to be a really interesting fight. And you don't often see finishes at 105, but I think here we're gonna see that. These 2 are coming to finish it. No mistake about it. So those 2 title fights are amazing. As you said, we've got some incredible fights on the rest of the card. I'm stoked. I think this is one of the best cards that Invicta's put on.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's too bad they're going to be in Kansas City, not in LA, man. I'm kind of bummed out about that. But before we go, Eric, I know you went to the NXT in Brooklyn for the takeover.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, man, that was an awesome show. Probably the best show of the weekend. I know it was busy. I think on Friday was a Evolve show. Then Saturday had NXT with US 202, and then I think you had the Super J Cup on Saturday as well. Then obviously Sunday was SummerSlam. Talk about NXT and your experience there, and your heel turn on the MMA Hour.
So first of all, I went to Brooklyn last year, and I think that was like the best wrestling show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like live on TV. I don't watch much wrestling on TV these days. I try to get out to the live shows because after I went to that Brooklyn event, my mind was blown. So last year's NXT in Brooklyn was like one of the best things I've ever seen. You know, across sporting events, across MMA, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. I've done PR and I've been to every kind of sporting event there is. That one was something special last year. This year was also good. Not as good as last year, but probably you're right that it was the best card of the weekend. It was incredible. Man, Nakamura, there's something about that guy.
Nakamura is awesome, man. His charisma.
He's got the showmanship. He's got the charisma. He's a complete package. I'm sure he'll end up, in the big show sometime soon.
Yeah.
I just think he's been down there too short. Maybe they want to, get him ready for American TV a little bit more. But that guy is a showman.
Yeah.
They had the classical.
Awesome, right?
They had the classical violin in house there.
Yeah.
That guy Bobby Roode, I wasn't familiar with him coming in. People were getting excited around me. People were getting excited around me when his music hit. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm into this. Let's see what he's got. And that was super fun. I think is their name the Revival?
Yeah,
Chad Dawson.
That was the best match of the night, I think.
That was the match of the night. Those two can go, and they were the heels, and everybody was rooting for the other dudes. The Revival was super awesome. They were fun. Those are my guys.
Bailey's a good match too, man.
Which one?
Bailey.
Oh, Bailey was awesome.
Yeah.
Bailey was incredible. I had a feeling after she dropped the match that she was going to end up in WWE, the big show, the next little stretch.
Yeah.
Because I remember NXT last year, everybody but her went up. Yeah. Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Sasha and Bailey last year was, man, I don't even know.
Unbelievable.
But I knew that they had went up. They were hugging in the ring. I could tell that something was going on there, and I hadn't even been following that closely. I knew that something was happening there, and then she would end up for her. But like top to bottom, those shows, those NXT shows, I think are like the best bargain you're gonna get. You're not paying that much, and you're sitting super close to some of the best wrestlers in the world. I don't know how long NXT is going to be able to have the top level talent that are kind of like more advanced. Like a guy like Bobby Roode, at some point NXT may have to start sending these guys up sooner. And have them in the big show right away. But for now, right now, NXT is the best thing going, and if you can get out to one of those shows, it is something special.
And talk about your heel turn, man.
So my heel turn. So I'm just, what it is, and I'm sure you guys get this too. I'm so sick of these people just eating up. It happens with Helwani. This is what it is. Let me tell you exactly what it is. Hold on. Let me tell you exactly what it is.
He's instigator, man.
Helwani will go out there and say, oh, New York Ric is an MMA hipster. Just because I don't agree with his cupcake, everybody should be best friends. Everybody should be singing Kumbaya. Yeah. Oh, this is the best sport in the world. These guys should be best friends. Everything is hunky-dory Kumbaya with Ariel. And when I disagree with it, he says, oh, you're just trying to disagree with me. And the people eat it up. The people say, oh, you're hipster Rick. You just want to have a contrarian opinion. Guess what? I speak truths exclusively. I don't speak anything I don't mean. And if anybody knows me personally, you guys have met me, I will shoot you straight. If you ask me for something and I can't do it, I'll tell you I can't do it. If I can do it, I'll do it for you. I only shoot straight. And the fans out there need to get off my case. If I disagree with Ariel, it's because I disagree with Ariel, and they need to accept that. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if they agree or disagree with me, as long as they're paying attention. And guess what? They tell me, oh, I hate you, Rick. I can't believe it. Guess what? They're still tuning in. And if you're going to tune in, I don't care if you agree or disagree with me. You're still watching. So keep watching. Keep putting money in my pocket and keep watching the show.
Just say, worship me, worship me.
Gloria. I'm going to start my theme music. I'm going to get the Bobby Roode music.
Yeah. Now, tomorrow when Ariel asks you, how are you, tell him that you're on the show.
Nope.
And
no show tomorw. Tuesday.
Oh,
Tuesday for the holiday. Tuesday.
On Tuesday when he asks you how are you, tell him about the show and tell him to stop dunking me, man. He promised me at 199 that he's gonna be on the show, and I emailed him and nothing. So Back me up, brother.
I will tell him to stop ducking both of you.
Right,
I will tell him.
Yeah.
That'll be more ammo for me when the trolls come out. I'll be like, look, I don't duck the hard questions. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
Look at this guy.
Awesome.
All right, Rick, man, you have a Glory 33 this weekend. Friday,
Yep.
you have Invicta 19 on September 23rd. Oh, we got to have you back on before BJ fights Lamas. I want to get you to talk about that.
That's gonna be an emotional time. I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
He's here, man. He's here, like in the SoCal area.
I think he's in the SoCal area.
He's down the street from us.
I'm a big BJ Penn fan, so I'm like with you on that one.
I think everybody loves BJ Penn. The problem is, man, he was over there at Jackson Winklejohn's. It seemed like that's the team that you want to have around you if you're a guy in BJ Penn's position. If you're a veteran and you need that game plan, he's always around his career known for kind of taking it easy and not pushing himself and not having guys that'll say, no, BJ, that's not the way to do it. Do it this way, and that'll be how you achieve success. And when he got into his best shape at lightweight, it was because he had his strength and conditioning coach. I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah, Marinovich.
Yes, Marinovich. Yeah. Marinovich was pushing him super hard, and he wasn't resting on his laurels, and I feel like he's getting away from that. He needs to go back to Jackson Winklejohn, and he needs that kind of structure rather than kind of floating around like he's been doing. But I mean, either way, it's right until I die with BJ Penn. So even if he comes in and starts on that tippy toes bullshit that he pulled out last time,
I forgot about that one.
I'm in it till the end. He's always my favorite fighter because win or lose, he's gonna take it. He's gonna take it personally. He's gonna take it emotionally.
Yeah.
There's no other way for him to do it, and he's gonna come in and he's gonna fight. He's never turned down a fight. I'll tell you that. So I'm in it till the end with BJ Penn.
Do you have Mickey Gall or CM Punk this weekend?
Oh, come on, stop it. Mickey Gall is going to. I mean, we had that guy in studio. That guy has got a good head on his shoulders.
He does.
He is looking at his career. He is looking at his career the perfect way.
Yeah, I agree.
He took a fast track to pay-per-view UFC status, but he was going to get here anyway. That kid is super smart. We've yet to see him against an opponent that is going to really push him.
Yeah.
All due credit to Mike Jackson, but that wasn't somebody who was going to really challenge Mickey Gall. He took it on short notice, and he's not an MMA fighter. He's more of a striking guy. He looked a little small compared to Mickey. But Mickey was going to get here regardless. Mickey was going to do it the slow way. This way, he did it the fast way. But he's going to be in the UFC for a bit.
Sure.
He's a good fighter and got a good head on his shoulders. I'm not one of those people who's saying, oh, fuck CM Punk. He got a lottery ticket. That guy doesn't deserve this. He's testing himself at the high. He's stepping into a cage with a guy who's trying to physically hurt him. If you think CM Punk is doing this for exposure, if you think CM Punk doesn't deserve this, you're kidding yourself. The guy is testing himself in a cage with a guy who's trained his whole life to do this. I have nothing but the utmost respect for CM Punk. Mickey Gall has nothing but the utmost respect for CM Punk. And the people who want to see him fail just because he did something else, he did another career before this, those people are jokes. They're jokes. They need to take their time doing something else.
I agree.
That said, I don't think he's going to win. But I'm not one of these people who's rooting for him to fail just because he was a pro wrestler. It's stupid. It
is. Well, Eric, thanks for the glorious interview. And have a great day, man. And we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Always good to speak to you guys. One of the best shows in MMA.
Oh, thanks, man.
I would love to be back anytime. But I'll work on getting Ariel before that.
All right,
man. Well, thank you, Eric, for your help. You've been a great guy for this, man. Thank you.
No sweat. I love you guys. Bye.
All right.